Hi beautiful people, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rorisang Mabogoane, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's great to have you in my little corner of YouTube where we speak all things adulting, faith, career, personal development, lifestyle, everything that is relevant for us to navigate our young adult lives. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and that red button must turn gray. Give this video a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you enjoyed about today's video and what other videos you'd like to see. Share this with anybody and everybody who you think might need it. And last but not least, hit this notification bell so that we do not miss another video. So without wasting any more time, let us get straight into today's video. Guys, we are back with a sit down. I can't remember the last time we had a sit down. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. But as you can tell, I'm not alone, and this is long overdue. Guys, this video,
it's Rori's fault. That's the first
it's my
word
fault.
coming out of my mouth.
It is my fault. I take full responsibility. But nonetheless, we are here and we're making things happen. So to kick off our career series, which is a series that will be taking, let's say, zooming into different careers that you can explore as a young person, we're kicking it off with Chartered Accountancy. And I thought, why not bring in our one and only corporate Faith Honey,
Yes, ma'am.
who is famous
Yes, ma'am.
for her love for God, but also for incorporating that into her corporate journey. So before we get into the meatiness, I'm going to hand over to you to introduce yourself. Plug yourself as well, because you're a content creator.
Oh my goodness.
So do the most, and then we'll do the things.
Guys, you know when Rori makes you like evaluate your whole strategy for YouTube, I'm like, oh, do I need a better intro? Like, what's going on? Guys, I can't just limit it to what I'm doing. But thank you so much, Rori, for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me and for honoring me and for clicking that link when you saw my face, because I'm so encouraged to be here. I've always wanted to be here, and like she said, I'm also like a fellow content creator. It's a weird way of how we met, but actually content creation, like in the, I want to say, academic space, is quite small. So we actually met at Oyana. She's also another content creator.
Go, and I'm linking everyone.
Everyone who's going to be here.
Yeah.
So we actually met at an event, and obviously because she did content, we worked at the same firm and we didn't even know, but in different divisions. But long story short, when she started the career series and asked me for my input to talk about my career and talk about CASA, of course I had to say yes. But I'm just so happy to be here, guys. I really am happy to be here.
Thank you so much for honoring the invite. I appreciate it. So I'll link everything down below: her LinkedIn, her Instagram, her YouTube. Please go and subscribe, guys. We are close to 3,000 subscribers. So please go and subscribe. If you actually pause here, we'll give you 2 seconds.
Guys, and you don't have to choose. It doesn't mean if you subscribe this side, you don't have to subscribe
All
this
of.
side.
Oh,
Subscribe,
All of.
genuine content, faith, lifestyle, career. These are things that are very, very topical and very interesting and important. It is Youth Month, so we want to make sure that enough young people are engaging with real content, not just about like makeup, lifestyle, and all those things, but career is such an important thing, and I think this career series is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm super excited. Okay, let's get into it. So as I've mentioned, LESEGO is a chartered accountant by profession. So I'm going to ask her to dumb it down for us.
Okay.
What is chartered accountancy to you?
Okay. So I'm going to try and dumb it down for real, because for me, chartered accounting, for me, I didn't even know what it was about. I grew up in the Northwest, and I think from my background, there wasn't a lot of like financial businesses happening from like a corporate point of view. If you come to Joburg, you know, you've got your big firms, you've got your medium-sized firms, but Klerksdorp is a very small town, right? So I didn't even know that there was something called chartered accountant, right? And I've been on this escapade this month, actually going out back into my community and telling them what is a CA. But a CA is a very important person, let me tell you that, you know. And it's very, I want to say, difficult for me to always like wear it on my shoulders, because I never saw myself as a CA. I thought it was someone that was very important, that was going to be in the numbers, that had to be serious. And judging from my personality, I didn't actually
See
think
yourself there. Yeah.
no, I was like, LESEGO, you're not that serious. Like, you're smart, but I don't know if my personality gives
that.
corporate, you know. But a CA, if I can define it like what SAICA defines it as. So SAICA is our professional body. So I am part of a professional body called South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. And basically they say a CA is a responsible leader that behaves ethically and creates sustainable value. Now, in simple English, you are a big deal. And you went to school for a long time.
Important people.
You are going to be working in very serious roles, and so we need you to be responsible. We also need you to be ethical. If you don't follow the news, you should. Just try to find out the history of CAs and the importance thereof and why we stress over ethics, because of how important we are in business and the roles that we find ourselves in. So ethics is such a big thing that shows up in our everyday, and we are put in positions where we have to make decisions that affect our ethics, how we respond to decisions. And like I said, we create sustainable value, right? It's not the value for now, but for example, the different types of careers. I don't know if it's a follow-up question, but I can go straight into the different types of careers. If I can give one important one, a CFO, right? You are the big dog. You are an exec, right? And your decision has an impact on everyone within the company. So if you're a CA and you're a responsible leader that has to behave ethically, and you're going to be creating this value, do you understand that it's not going to just impact this company this year? It's going to
for the years to come as well.
You know what I mean? So I think being a CA is not to be undermined. It's also not a career that you should be scared of because of the definition and the types of jobs that you can get, because you do get some CAs that don't go the traditional routes. They don't go into finance, they don't go into business. I'm into content creation. I love teaching, I love being with people, I like collaborating, and I'm still also learning how I can use the CA routes, you know,
with leverage your skills and the gifts and talents that God has given you.
100%, because you get exposed to so much from a business side, right? You understand business, you understand how it works, you understand the inputs, right? But you don't have to limit it to just staying in finance. You can start your own business, but the crux of it is that you are going to be in a very superior positions or senior positions, and people expect a lot from you. So that's why the career in itself is well respected in the industry with people. If they find out that you're a CA, guys, we see sometimes I'm just kind of like, guys, I'm just a person. Why are you guys giving me so much? You know, people like honor you and respect you, but that just comes with the brand that SAICA has allowed for CAs to carry. And being a CASA is not like the only thing that you can be under SAICA. I think they have two other designations. So in total, you have CASA, which is I think it's the most I want to say sought after like that SAICA has, and it's what's the word that I'm looking for? I can't find it, but Oksala, your SAICA, these things number one.
There's a hype there, guys. There's really a hype there. Me too. I'm outside, and sometimes I want to be.
Then they also have AGASA, which is Associate General Accountants, which is just under CASA, and then you have ATSA, which is Accountant Technicians, and that's also like an entry-level qualification that SAICA offers, right? So you don't have to just be a CASA if you want to be associated with SAICA, because SAICA is a big brand, and you don't want to necessarily go the CSA route. There's other options. And SAICA is also trying to encourage people and let them know that there's other two designations that you can go out for, because we're not all going to be CEOs and CFOs, and some of us don't want to be in very senior exec positions, which is fair, right? I just think like sometimes when you are in corporate, people try to push promotion, they try to push seniority. But if I'm a family person and I'm married, I want to spend time with Zoe, with my daughter, you know, and I don't necessarily want a demanding job, and I don't want that weight, guys, because like I said,
it's a lot. You're a big deal.
You're a big deal. You know what I mean? So your say matters, and you carry so much responsibility. But yeah, that's just a CSA in the simplest term and the longest term.
Okay. So you mentioned the technical accountant and then the general. Can one start maybe at, you know, the entry level, which is the TASA, and then work their way up if they want it that way? Like, can they find a way to bridge between the accreditations?
I think they can. So that's just something that they're exploring, because once you have that designation, I think you can qualify for another one. So it's actually not like a prerequisite for you, right? So although I mentioned 3, it's not that if you're an AT, you have to work your way up to be an AGA, or you have to CSA. They both, all 3 have different streams and different things that you do, right? So for CSA, it's the most stringent ones. So you'll do more auditing, financial reporting, tax, management accounting. But if you're going to be doing AGA SA, you only just do financial reporting and management accounting.
Is that like what a bookkeeper would do, for example? Or a bit higher than what a bookkeeper
I want to say a bit higher,
Okay.
but at the same time, not as high as a CASA, right? And then AT is for also entry level. So you'll do foundational accounting. So I could equate that to like bookkeeping.
I see.
Right? So it all depends. But I think because you're associated with SAICA, it comes with the fact that you could apply for other jobs, right? So you don't have to just be limited to the fact that you have to stay here or like maybe stay into bookkeeping. If you wanted to take a step further and go and become an AGSA, you probably have to do another prerequisite to get it, you know, so it just depends on you.
That's interesting. Thank you so much for that. I always say on this channel that every day is a school day. I just learned a whole lot, I must say. So thank you so much for that. So let's go into, how do you actually become a CA? Where does the journey start? High school, varsity, what does that look like for you to then at the end of the day say, listen, I have this designation?
Yeah, I think for some people's journey, to be honest, guys, it starts from the womb. Some parents are sure that kids are going to become CAs, right? And some people in high school also, they're like, I've heard about this. I know exactly what subjects I want to choose, right? But for me, mine started in varsity and it started in my 4th year. So if I explained the normal route, if you want to study to become a CASA, they would want you to do pure mathematics. If you're going to be doing maths literacy, you probably have to do like a bridging course either at the beginning of your BCom or your degree of commerce, whatever the university calls it,
or at the end,
right? So but the bridging course is going to be necessary because you did maths literacy. But they need you to do maths, and I think that's the biggest one. And then obviously you have to pass your matric, right? And I think I always tell people that's step number 1. If you've passed matric, then already tick
your one.
So now when you get into university, different universities call it different things. Because I was at Monash, I was there in 2014. It was called Bachelor of Business Sciences in Professional Accounting. Other universities just call it Bachelor of Business Sciences.
UJ calls it Bachelor of Accounting Sciences, as well as WITS, if something like that. Yeah, so Bachelor of Accounting Sciences. So there's 2, and I get a lot of questions about that, about people having applied for the wrong degree, where people applied for BCom accounting, but they should have applied for Bachelor of Accounting 100%. Instead. So that's, and then the BCom ones would have to do a bridging to do their CTA or their BCTA first before CTA. Something like that.
You get it. And I think I always tell people, I want to advise them that if you are wanting to be, you are sure it's called CASA, just tell your university what your outcome wants to be, right? Then you won't have to go through the stress of what's the name of this degree, because people go by that name and you might be in the wrong one. So just tell them, I want to go the CASA.
What do I need to study?
What do I need to study?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have your 3 years, you do your degree if you did a Bachelor of Business Sciences. You have your 3 years, and then you have what we call CTA. Other universities call it PGDA, so Postgraduate Diploma in Accounting. CTA stands for Certificate Theory in Accounting. Now for me, this is where the ball dropped. This here, right here.
People see flames there, guys. We just see you on campus with your trolleys. And we're just like, listen, those kids are breathing a different kind of oxygen.
Let me tell you, shameless plug. I have a video on CT specifically because it gets
This is why I brought her.
It gets shaky. So for me, I saw flames, and this is a very technical and demanding year because everything that you're doing, all your 4 fundamentals, right? So if I just take it a step back, in your undergrad, you focused on financial reporting, on tax, on auditing, and on management accounting, right? But when you get to your CTA year, you kind of become a specialist in all 4 of them, right? And that's why it's the most difficult, because technically you have to be there, you know?
For all,
And they don't ask easy things, right? And you end up writing like 2 or 4 exams back to back. Or for example, in my second attempt when I did it through UNISA, you write all 4 on one day, you know? And it's a very long day, you know? But I mean, this year gets very tricky. Some people do it in flying colors, great for you, but some of us are
flames. So flames.
Yeah, I'm still reaping. I don't know, it's been so long, but I'm just kind of like, CTA. Oh my gosh. But
Listen,
anyway,
you made it out. That's what matters.
eventually,
The work finished. That good work that God had set out for you.
I qualified, guys. It says CSA at the end. It's fine. So you get to your 4th year, and then when you get to your 4th year, this is the year where usually people sign with companies. Other people, like I said, if they came from the womb, if they came from high school, they'd already signed with firms, right? So you can either go with an auditing firm or you can go with a bank. Some equity companies like venture capitalists, but those are specific ones. You probably have to do the research. I'm not well versed. I did my articles in audit, but you can either go in banking or in audit or a venture capitalist, and you could do your training there. But you need to be with the training office that is accredited to give you whatever you need that SAICA needs, right? So,
and if I'm not mistaken, SAICA's website has the list of companies where you can make sure that it's accredited.
A researched hand. Listen.
I work for you guys, hey? I really
Listen.
research for you guys.
So now you do your articles, and when you're doing your articles, you do it for 3 years. So I want to say the conventional route is 3 years, right? Let's say some people go and study CTA through UNISA. They might be studying and working at the same time,
So it might
and
be shorter or
longer.
Really?
5 years.
Okay.
Some people sign 5-year training, and I feel like for those it's very special circumstances because of the fact that they are studying and working. So you don't necessarily do all your courses in 1 year. But that's what I'm saying, it's very specific to like a UNISA. Maybe in the traditional schools like or varsities, you probably won't get that option, but it's 3 years, right?
Okay.
In your 3 years, in that first year, you write something, our first board exam. That board exam is called ITC, which stands for your initial test of competence. This is also another follow-up of technicality from your 4th year, right? But you write it like a month after CTA, and some people panic. They're like, how can you give us a month to study? Oh my gosh, like, are you mad? Like,
but technically it's the stuff that you studied in CTA.
It's the same stuff.
You just need to refresh. If you didn't cram, you just need to refresh.
Keyword, don't cram. Don't cram. Understand. Because like I said, you only have a month, right? And even if things don't go well, you have a second sitting in June, and luckily ITC has 2 sittings. Okay. So if you don't pass in Jan, you'll pass in June.
Nice.
Can you see I'm prophesying you will pass?
Amen.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that? So some people like really stumble there, right? So I don't want to say CTA is the only stumbling block. I just want to say, even here, man, you can stumble in those 3 years, but to each their own, right? But you do your board exam in your first year. If things go great, then you get to rest for 18 months. Now, you write your second board exam, which is called APC, which is called the Assessment of Professional Competence. So this one has like prerequisites for you to write this APC, right?
What do those prerequisites look like?
So let's say for ITC, for example. ITC, you had to pass CTA for you to write ITC. Right. That's prerequisite number 1 for ITC. APC, you have to have worked at your firm for 18 months. Then you also have to pass your board course. So the board course is offered by, I want to say now, 3 institutions. UCT offers, UJ offers, and UJ's one is called APT. And then you have Endunamo, which is like recent, but they're also doing well. Okay. So those are the 3 board courses that offer.
Do you know what UCT's one is called?
UCT is just called UCT.
UCT, okay.
Endunamo one is also called Endunamo. I think UJ wanted to be fresh. They decided to call it something else.
One thing about that orange
Somebody from UJ, tell us why it's called APT and not UJ.
I went to UJ and I don't know. I guess.
I don't even know what APT stands for. Somebody comment
down below and tell us what it means.
So you have APT. So you have the 3 and you have to pass the board course. Now every board course is different, right? And I get a lot of people that say, oh, which board course is better? That one, again, guys, research, understanding your client portfolio, because you write it in your second year, right? Okay. And remember, I said you write it 18 months after. So it's at the end of that year. So if you don't understand your client portfolio, because the different board courses offer it differently, it's not, I'm not saying one is better than the other, the offering is different, right? So let's say, for example, I did with UCT. And UCT was very school-like, you know. UCT, Inanibu, man, I don't know, but they Inani prestige,
of course. I mean, it's a different country, technically.
You know what I mean? So they at school, like assignments like this, assessments like this, you know. Whereas UJ was
a bit more
relaxed. They understood that we were working professionals, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, I only went with UCT because I had done my ITC with them, you know. Because even at ITC, you do it with UJ, I want to say, I can't remember, but I think I did it with UCT, you know, and because I didn't want to change it up and I didn't do enough research, this is the point where I say do your research, right? I just stuck with the devil that I knew, so I just stuck with UCT, and basically it wasn't the best option for me because of the fact that I was so used to a UNISA background. So when I passed on my second attempt, I was used to having my own disciplines, you know, my own structure, my freedom, at your own pace. Exactly, which is what UJ offers, right? But with UCT, assignment, assessment, they want.
That's how you're working, right? You're training at the same time.
Do you understand? Do you understand?
It's a lot.
And I was just, I want to say unlucky that in my division, I was working on a lot of first-time audits. Now, if you're in audit and you do first-time audits, those are always the hardest, right? Because the partner doesn't know what's going on.
There's
the
no
manager
background.
doesn't know. No one knows what's going on, so you have to be there all the time. And it was a really tough year, and I wish I would have done
more established audits, rather.
Not more established. I wish the other party, APT. I wish I went that side, guys. Because somebody they like debating. Ours is better. It's not about being better. The offering.
It's what makes it realistic for your life in that moment.
Exactly. That's why you need to understand. Okay, even Endunamo is new. But the one thing that I like Endunamo is that it's black owned, right? I like supporting black owned companies. So the fact that it has that and they have small numbers, you have that intimacy, you know, if you like that intimate kind of setup where it's not a lot of people.
At school where there's 10 of you in the class.
You get what I mean? So that's why I'm just saying it depends what your preference is, right? So you can either go with any three of them, they're all great, but you have to pass whatever they offer, right? You have to pass their tests, you have to pass not everything, I wanna say everything. It would be ideal to pass everything, but some of us, the grace of God. That's why we preach the grace of God, because I can't even tell you how crazy that time frame was for me. But at the end, I made it, God willingly. I passed the board course. You did your 18 months, and then SAICA says, okay, sharp, now you can write our exam. Okay. Then you write that final APC exam. Again, it's called the Assessment of Professional Competence. A hectic exam. And I want to say it's hectic because it's very different from ITC. This exam is 8 hours long.
Guys, my attention span is...
Let me explain, guys. 8 hours is a long time, but it's a short time. When you're
of course, yes. I get what you mean. I get 100%.
You're like, are you sure it shouldn't be 9?
Maybe or 10 or 2 days.
Spirit, give us time. But basically, APC is a case study, and in this case study, there's 5 of you. And like I said, because you've done the board course, that was the prerequisite. So the structure of the final SAICA APC exam is similar to what you did on the board course. So in your board course, if there was 5 of you in a group, maybe 6, 7, limit it, maybe keep it to 6, 5, you know, you have your 5 days, and this 5 days, they call it a pre-release period. They'll give you a case study, right? This case study, it has something called triggers. So things to research on, right? But it's basically emails, and you basically are in the position of a newly qualified something, but you're a newly qualified CA, but we don't know the role. Maybe you can be a financial accountant, or you can be an auditor, or you can be something, but in the scope of a CASA, right? And you basically have to respond to emails. And the research is the email. So, for example, let's say the company, they'll tell you that you're a financial accountant at ShopRite, and basically at ShopRite, they're going to do a lot of strategic changes and they want to know your input. Do you think maybe we should change our strategy? So now you must go research. And remember, there's 5 of you, 6 of you. So if strategy wasn't Rori, guys,
I'm the strategist.
So now we go to Rori research. But also, that's also dangerous because you might rob yourself of the opportunity to learn, right? So at the end of the day, I tell people, guys, with APC, research everything. But I'm digressing. Anyway, you've got 5 days. Your pre-release, you do your research, they give you a case study. Then on the day of the exam, the 8 hours now, they give you an additional case study. Okay. This is competence now. Remember, with your 5
you
people,
did your research.
You did your research, there was 5 of you. Now we don't know if it was me that researched or Rori. SAICA doesn't know. And SAICA is not dumb. SAICA is going to get you out. Because on the day, they give you something called information on the day. It's literally called information on the day. And it's another 15 pages of a case study. And remember that first email with that guy that was like, we want to do strategic change. Then on that day, maybe they might say, oh, sorry, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I'm thinking I want to extend my division. Do you think I should do that? Now competence starts now. Now you must think.
Johnny, because that's what I researched.
SAICA was trying to get you to think.
Okay, fair.
They wanted you to think. Remember, a newly qualified CASA, a responsible leader that behaves ethically, that creates sustainable value. So you must think.
Yeah, you need to be sharp.
So on that day, you have to be able to pivot and say, okay, these are the considerations. And if you don't plan your answer, if you just start typing, of course you're going to. So that's why you must plan, you must think. It takes time. But remember, you've got 18 months of work experience. You've got your group members. You've gone through a board course. So don't panic when it comes to that final board exam. People panic at that very end because it's the last stretch before you get your designation. I want to say before you get it, because you still have to finish your other 18 months again, because it's 36.
Yeah.
So you have to finish everything else. My maths is not mathing. How many? 18 minus, you are getting 3 years. So you have to finish your third year as well after you pass your APC, finish all your competencies, and then after you get your competency, SAICA says, now we can send you out.
Okay.
There's a stamp for you.
Of approval.
You are globally recognized. You can earn money. You can be a part of our professional body. And then you become a CAC.
Okay.
And it's great.
That sounds like a long journey.
Minimum 6 to 7 years. That's what I tell people. Maximum as long as it takes.
And does SAICA like have a limit as to how many times you can write, or?
Yeah, so with ITC you have 6 attempts. It's a lot, but remember there's 2 sittings. Don't say okay.
No,
some
like
people,
I
tell you guys, some people are like, I don't want to lie to you guys, this journey is not the easiest, right? And you have to get to that point where you realize if a professional body is giving you 6 attempts, how hard must this thing be, right? And some people don't pass in the 6 attempts. And if you don't pass, that 7th attempt, it means you have to redo CTA.
Sure. That's mad.
You have to redo CTA if you don't pass the 6 times. APC, they give you 3 chances. 3, because there's 1 sitting per year.
Okay.
So if in 3 times you don't pass, then you have to redo a board course.
That's crazy.
And a board course is 1 year.
Yeah.
And again, they give tests, they give assessment, they give all these things. And remember, your experience is changing, right? In the company, you're becoming more visible. They're entrusting you with more to do. So the longer you take in this journey, the more difficult it is to get leave, to get understanding from people. Your peers are leaving you mentally. It's messing with you.
You on study leave for the past 3 years. Now again, you're
and
asking for
companies are not going to give you that leave, you know. And also the mental impact that it has. Like failing is not. You have to go back to that same people and tell them. Imagine now you have this awkward thing where you didn't pass APC, but you're in a 2nd year position, and now your peers pass because you get your results when you're in your 3rd year. People don't take you as seriously anymore, right? But like the minute you pass, more responsibility, because now they're like, oh, she can think. Here, work. So things change, right? So it is a mental game at the end of the day. You need to be mentally strong. This year, say Jenny is not for the smartest, it's for the strongest, the soldiers. That is why if you don't convert your faith,
we can't pray with you if you're not on our side.
Can you? guys, the hand of God is a real thing.
Amen.
Like some people literally come to this awareness where they just kind of like, you know what, I don't know what's wrong with me. You're like, have you prayed? Have you surrendered it to God? Do you know what the real issue is?
That need answers.
Because it's not technical.
Yeah.
Remember, it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know how to strategize?
Yeah.
Do you have peace when you write? Do you have
Because you can't be
calmness?
nervous for 8 hours. You're gonna crash. You're gonna go blank.
I was quoting scripture when that question came, and I was like, "Yo, God, come intervene. Come.
I can do all things. I have the mind of Christ. Listen.
Rori, you are in my exam." I was quoting scripture because things were getting shaky.
Sure.
And I can imagine like people that are not like strong in their faith. This journey takes a toll on people, right? And that's why I'm saying you're going to be in such difficult positions even after you qualify, that like you can't separate your spirituality from the everyday, you know. And even attaining the designation is like, but I can go 10 million times talking about this journey. It's not easy, guys.
There's a reason why.
It took me 9 years. I said minimum 6 to 7, as long as it takes. For me, luckily God kept it at 9 years. Some people 15 years.
Sure.
Some people let it go, they come back 10 years later.
Sometimes I get it sometimes, eh?
And you have to respect the people that stay in the long haul, because at the end of the day, you must understand the value that you get from CSA.
Right.
I think a lot of people ask, why would you do that to yourself? You know, but if you don't understand what you're getting, this prestige, these 4 letters, they're not just 4 letters.
Right.
There's a lot that goes behind being associated with SAICA, having the 4 letters. And if you understand the value, you would understand why people keep coming back.
I think it's time for me to go back to school because namnyaifuna. Okay, so now that leads me to the next question. So I have a BCom Finance undergrad degree, and then I did my honors in investment management. Can someone without a BCom or a Bachelor of Accounting Science become a CASA? Do I need to take that route, or are there loopholes?
Yeah, I think so. For people do very like weird things. I want to say weird things because let's say you were in varsity, you did your investment management, you did everything, business, what. Then you realize the CSA kids are doing a lot, right? And I want to join them. There's going to be a bridge must come, né? Because remember, psycho expects you to have those 4 fundamentals at a certain level.
Yeah, because I touched them here and there,
but you didn't go deeper. So because you didn't go deeper, you're going to bridge so that you can go deeper. So you can be a hero, and like obviously some people have epiphanies and later on they're like, okay, I probably wanted to do this. There's a bridging course, and those bridging courses are different for different universities. So there's no one size fits all. It will depend on which institution you're using,
right? And
then also like how many more years do I need to bridge? Some people it's 1.
Okay.
Some 2. Some have to restart as in become like Bachelor of Business Science.
First year,
like you're going to do macroeconomics.
Guys, that module traumatized me
I'm
personally.
I'm just saying some people like that's why I think it's important. I think this is something that's not spoken about enough is the fact that you need to do research.
Okay.
And don't be scared to plan out your life and just say, where do I want to see myself? You don't have to have the exact answer, but at some stage you need to come to an understanding of this is where I would like to land up. And the sooner you get to that understanding, you can avoid all these other things, right? Because if you're going to realize in your 3rd year that maybe I should have gone the CSA stream, there's sacrifice to that realization, right? Because you need to understand some people entered it without having to think twice about it, right? So it also like this is a life lesson that like if you are going to pivot anywhere in life and it wasn't like the one-way route, then you need to understand that there's a bridge that you have to cross, and you need to be comfortable with the cost, the sacrifices, potentially not being the youngest person in the room. I wasn't the youngest person when I started working. My peers, because I was 1 year behind, and then I took a gap year because I was pregnant and I had to give birth. So technically I was 2 years behind. So my peers were my 3rd years and they giving me instruction, and I'm like, hey, I'm your peer.
My goodness. Okay.
But those are the things, and you have to be humble to that process, right? I couldn't be like with my first years and think that I'm old and I'm better, because like
you humble yourself in those moments.
It's the cost. It's the cost. So I think everything, if you're going to be dicing and changing degrees, just be comfortable with the diced journey. That's what I'm saying.
As long as you get to where you want to get, like 100%. You said, plan out your life, right? So I think that's very important as well. So the last question I want to ask before we wrap up the video is, you mentioned that you did your articles in audit, and you mentioned that some people can go into banks, some people can go into equity firms and whatever. What is the biggest difference between audit and banking when it comes to doing your articles?
One thing that I'd like to say, audit is audit.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Procedures are procedures. We are all going to inspect. We are all going to inquire. We are all going to do the audit procedures that you know. The difference is the experience.
Okay.
What do banks work with? Credit, debtors. So certain standards in a bank are more pressing, right? So IFRS 9, if you're familiar with the accounting journey, IFRS 9 is like the financial liabilities and financial assets section, anything that has to do with instruments. You have to have a good grasp of those standards. Even if it's not the strongest thing, you need to be familiar with it, because that's what you're working with, because those are the instruments in a bank, right? In audit, it will depend on your division. So I was in a division called telecoms, media, and technology, and basically I had to be able to acclimate my procedures to those different industries, right? If you are a venture capitalist, equity, investment management, I'm not sure if there's like specific standards, but you have to be able to have more of a management accounting mindset and instead of auditing, but you still have to inspect whatever that thing is, right? You still have to reperform a calculation, right? So the audit procedures are the same. So that's why it's like we all qualify to be CSAs because we've met the competencies that we need to. It's the experience that's different, and will depend on the division. It will also depend on the firm. So for example, I was in one Big Four firm. There could be another Big Four firm. You're in a different division. We're not going to get the same experience, but we're both going to be CAs, right? It will depend on the offering of that company. So if you are somebody that likes a banking environment, right, and you like the high buzz of I'm in corporate, I just, whenever I think banking, I see people look at you coffee and they are just
gray suits and that's it.
And they just, I just went to the gym and, I can't believe that financial instrument. Did you look at the JSE trading,
Miss me on that. There's a reason why we're content creators, guys.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, some people, guys, from the womb, they know. So some people know that's the type of vibe that they want. They want the environment. They want the experience. They also want to work in a bank, And if you have experience in articles in the bank, it gives you an advantage when you want to go into banking.
Makes sense.
For example, if you are coming specifically from audit and you want to go into banking, there's certain standards that you didn't touch. IFRS 9, when last did you touch it?
So you have to open the textbook again.
Because you don't know what's going on. And of course, other firms want to vet you, right?
Of course.
Do you understand these things, right? And maybe the interview process might be more stringent because you don't have that background, right? So there's just certain loops. So I just think, like I said, the experience is what makes them different, but you're all going to qualify. But if you know that, for example, you want to be affiliated with a Big Four firm because it looks good on a CV, and you want to work with a certain division because you want to be associated with certain audits in that division, then that's another input that people go into audit, for example, right? Venture capitalists, like people that want to stay in like equity investment management
or like portfolio,
it was so complicated, you know what I mean?
I love how I'm saying that, but I passed that honors. I went through the trenches there.
Like some people like hard things, and they just
unprovoked.
Like they like it. So those are the ones that choose it, and they do research and they find companies, and obviously it's not like every equity firm that's a training office. They need to be a training office, and they need to be able to, although remember, you are being trained, but you are being trained in a capacity as an employee. So you also have to offer a service. So you're not there to just learn, it's all about me, because what people tend to do when they're in training, they're like, but don't I understand I have to write APC? Don't I have to understand that I need to
You have to juggle the two.
Focus on myself. You are an employee.
You have to juggle
Employment
the two.
contract you signed. You said, I'm going to work.
And you didn't sign that employee contract with SICA. You signed it with that
keywords. You said that so beautifully, because I honestly believe that's why people stumble a lot and they get like very negative towards their firm, like you guys don't understand and whatnot. But you have to be able to communicate certain things, and your presence in a firm matters, right? Your outcome, your visibility. What are you actually putting on the table? Are you meeting deadlines? When that time for APC comes, can I bargain? Can I just like, I'm ready to hand in my card now. Remember when I worked overtime, that other time, I need to go study now. If you didn't have good relationships, it will be harder. If you've been lazy your whole time, they're not going to give you the leave. They're not going to approve. So certain things like that. But whether you do it in a
bank or in an audit firm, or
you are going to be a chartered, just make sure that you do your work.
Okay,
that's what I gotta say.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I hope you guys did too. Please actually comment down below what was your key highlight from everything that was discussed today, because I'm quite sure I can call out a number. So just in summary, in order for you to become a CASA, you do first of all, you need to do maths, pure maths. If you don't, make sure you are prepared for whatever bridging course you need to do before or after your degree. Then you're going to do your 3-year degree either as a Bachelor of Accounting Science student, or you can take the BCom route and then add a BCTA year to that. And then after your undergrad, you do your CTA, where that is a year as well, right? With 4 disciplines, which is accounting, management accounting, tax, and audit. A student. And then from there you go and do your ITC, which is just a month or so after your CTA finals, and then you kick off your traineeship thereafter, and that's 3 years, 36 months. And from there, you are done. You are eligible to register.
Yeah, don't forget the board exams.
Board exams.
Oh, you're lying to the people. They still have to write board exams.
Write
Guys,
your board
it's a long
exams.
journey.
APC. You need to pass APC, and then you're eligible to register.
Yes.
Okay, that was a mouthful, but that is essentially the route to becoming a CASA, and I'm really, really grateful for you imparting that knowledge. I learned a lot, and I'm quite sure you did too. So with that, we've reached the end of today's video. Thank you so much for your time, your input, your insights. Guys, but this is not the last time you're going to see her. We are going to do a follow-up video, which is what she specializes in. Her videos on YouTube are blowing up about what we're going to talk about in this next video. So sit back, relax. Next week, we're seeing you again. So with that, we've reached the end of today's video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share this with anybody and everybody who you think might need it, which is everyone. And with that, with so much love and so much light from me to you, have an amazing rest of the day. Stay safe and God bless. Bye guys.